You're now tuned into Empowered Mindz podcast.
You got going on
with your host,
no troubles won't last.
Aqeel Ash-Shakoor.
Last always.
Are you ready to be empowered? Well then, let's go.
It's gonna make you stronger. Whatever it is, it won't last much longer.
Troubles won't last.
Your trouble won't last.
It was nights I couldn't sleep, man, I tossed and turned. Thinking about this next day and these dollars I gotta earn. It's all truth, pimpin'. See, Jen ain't lied. Man, many nights I've been broke. Sometimes I much rather die. Now see, I ain't saying I love it, but I can't fathom the thought and I haven't enough of it.
How you doing? Welcome to Empowered Mindz with your host, Aqeel Ash-Shakoor. Thank you for joining me. I know this has been a long time coming. It has been at least a year. Can you hear it in my throat? So, as always, you know, what we're going to do on Empowered Mindz, we're going to try to keep the most raw footage as we can. And what I want to come to you today is I wanted to talk about 3 important questions that I continue to be asked. Now, we're not doing this in any type of form or anything or chronological order as far as jump-starting your acting career or just how things are going in the industry with me. We're going to do them just as they come in. And so, through the last few months, especially my booking of Law and Order, Special Victims Unit, and the other Dick Wolf Special FBI, as well as Chicago Med, I've been getting numerous messages, texts, and all of that. And people want to know about agents and managers. So we're going to jump right into this. And we're going to talk about the first questions. And I got them written down so we can stay on track. And I pray that I'll be able to answer your questions as most. Now, if you haven't done so already, I want you to go ahead on over to YouTube and all formats. And I want you to subscribe to Empowered Mindz. You'll see it right there. All right. Go ahead and subscribe and then share the link, because my plan is to upload all these videos back to my YouTube page. And I'll share them, but you need to go over to get the specific information from my YouTube page, Empowered Mindz. All right, so let's just go. First question, do I need an agent or manager? And I like to tell you in story form so you can get it. In the best way that I can tell you, do you need an agent or manager? And I'm going to tell you from my perspective, and you can use other people's perspective, but this has worked for me. I remember starting out, and I remember I saw a brother that had a management company, and I wrote to him. And I just wrote to him because I saw, or thought at least that when you have a manager, because I used to do music, that managers they have the inner link to get you in the door to things or projects that you may not get or see on your own. Same thing with an agent. So as I began to learn more and to matriculate in knowledge of this industry, I understood that I did need an agent. I understood that the agents had connections or relationships with casting directors and had knowledge of various projects. So do you need an agent or manager? Well, it depends on your career. What do you believe you're at? Most of you are starting out, you have no real knowledge of it, and you're ready to jump into getting an agent or a manager. And at this point, I would tell you that if you're brand new to acting, I would say, or even if you've gotten your feet wet, I would say the first thing you need to do is you need to really jump into acting classes, and we'll talk on that on another video. But if you haven't done the precepts, you know what I'm saying, like gotten your headshots and all these things. See, that's the things that an agent can hook you up with. So you're calling around to people like, what classes should I take? What should I do on this and this and that? That's why it's very helpful to have an agent. Now, once you've been in the industry a little bit, whether it's the independent or whatever, now understand, everybody doesn't start out in the independent area, okay? Most people, not most people, but some people even start out right away. Their first one, they're in a major network. But listen, let's be for real. You hear this phrase all the time, trust the process. Well, then trust the process is what I'm telling you, all right? Me personally, I put my faith in God, so I seek the kingdom first. And you're going to hear a lot of that because that's just my background and my foundation. Maybe you have something else. But as far as an agent and a manager. And I like how one of my friends says it. He says that God is my agent. Very true. God is my agent. And I also use a secular agent. Okay. So there are plenty of agencies out there. Question 2. How do I choose an agent or a manager? Well, again, I remember when I was first starting out in my acting career, I didn't have a knowledge of what or how agents and managers work in the film industry. So I just reached out and, I sent what I thought I had as a good resume and headshot, and I was turned down. Well, it was a blessing actually, because by being turned down, it gave me more time to learn about what I needed. And obviously, I didn't have the material to catch that person's or that company's eye to where they would want to sign me. That being said, through the years, I began to develop and do my own personal research. That's another hint. I used to do this when I was a professor and a former educator. And I tell people that basically, when you hear me say something and I repeat it twice, that may be something you want to take note of and write it down. So again, what I'm saying is that I didn't have the credentials or things that stood out. So you want to make yourself appealing. Why would an agent hire you? Why wouldn't hire you or sign you? Because to me, and the way I look at an agent and a manager, we become a team. I don't work for you and you don't work for me. We work together because there are things that you need to do and have to do, and there are things that I must do and have to do, okay, for this to be a great relationship and for both of us to benefit. And not just monetarily, but think about it. If we're forming a team, okay, if we're forming a team and we're the 1-2 punch, that's what we're going after. And then people recognize that when they see my agent submit me, they know the quality of work that they're being submitted for and to, right? And then when they see it's me that they're submitting, they go, oh, that's great. Or they know to contact my agent or my manager because they say, oh, this is Aqeel's agent or manager, right? So how do you even choose a manager? I got a little ahead of myself, but how do you choose an agent or manager? That's a question that always comes up. And I really want people to do the research. You can't get everything for free in this industry, and you should not fashion yourself. How do you get an agent? How about Google? There's so many tools that are available now that weren't available when I was doing music years ago, to where I had to do a lot of research. We had to wait till the magazines come out, like the Source, Double XL, Rap Sheets, and all these things, and we had to go into credit and try to find a contact number or email or an address to send out your demos and all these things. Now, we have the computers now. You can just get on Google or whatever search engine you use, and you can get in and punch in, how do I find an agent? How do I find top agents? So I recommend you start there. And a lot of times it's a dead giveaway when you're contacting other actors or you're contacting agents and managers blindly. That's what I did. I made that mistake in the beginning by contacting a manager blindly, not even understanding how a manager worked in the independent world, or in the beginning stages, I would say, and I was unlearned. So I build up my package. So how do you choose it? Also, go and look at who the agent or manager has on the roster and see. Go and track those people. You can pull up any agency's list roster of their talent. It goes like kids, female or women, men, whatever, and you can see the talent that they had on their roster and check out what they're doing. See who they represent, okay? And then you get to track what they've been doing. Track and see any articles. Pull up articles about the agent and or the manager and see what they're currently doing. Not just what they've done in the past, but what they're doing now. That's a good way on how to choose an agent or a manager. Not just because you see everybody run into that agent or manager. Case in point, I remember years ago when I was getting started, and even just about was like SAG eligible then, there were people just running to my agent that I actually have now, which is Aqeel Talent. Shout out to Aqeel Talent Group. And everybody was running there. They at that time they were Gill and Hayes, or Hayes and Gill, something like that, and everybody was running there. But when I couldn't understand, so I was even thinking maybe I should, but I didn't. I ended up signing to another agency. But what I began to see was a trickling down effect, and even when and it's not about how they parted, but what I began to see on both labels now, agencies, Hayes Talent and my agent, now Gill Talent Group. What I began to see is they begin to drop actors. Why? A lot of times if you just ask the question why, it's because they weren't producing. Now you may say, well, I can't produce if I don't get the auditions. Well, trust and believe your agents are submitting you. But for whatever reason, maybe you're not appealing or you're not coming across. And remember how I said that I wasn't coming across, or I wasn't as appealing at that moment to that manager that I attempted to? Now, since then, him and I become somewhat friends in the industry, okay? And we support each other by congratulating each other on projects and giving some inspiring thoughts on when we do book and things like that and projects that we have coming out. But I didn't hold it against him. Okay, didn't hold it against him, and he doesn't hold it against me now. I don't believe he does for not signing with him now. But see, you got to understand mature industry relationships. All right, and so I don't fault them, because if this was my business, I would be looking for people that produce. And the same thing that happened with my agency now, Gill Talent Group. They're looking for people that are producing and people that want to go beyond the local market. Okay, and so when I say going beyond the local market, I just simply mean that your ideas are not just focused on being on one television show or in one movie set or things like that, that they have a broad range, okay? It's not about just being in New York, Cali, or Atlanta. We're talking Mexico, Brazil, Australia, everywhere that we're shooting films or commercials or any type of film work, okay? Maybe you could just be a spokesman. All right. So when you're thinking about agencies, talent agents, and managers, you want to think about those things. Now, this last question. Oh my God. I've definitely been getting this a lot too. So people reach out to me. They send me their full resume, and though I'm not a casting director and things like that, I think people get confused because of the shows they see me on. They see the progressiveness that I have and the proactive matters that I take in my career, and those things. They send me their resumes blindly. They send me their headshots. Some people just simply say, "Hook me up." Some people say, "Put me on." Some people say, "Can you give me a reference to your manager and to your agent, or to your agent and your manager, for me to use it for my agent, for my talent, or for me to get on it and get into the business?" The answer is no. I cannot vouch for you when I don't know you. And even if I know you, it's unprofessional. You see, because many of us, we all came in, we're thinking, man, if I got the hookup, if somebody would put me on, that'll be great, and then I'll be in the industry. It's not the way to go. You need to build a reputation for yourself. And understand this. My agent and my manager don't work for me, they work with me. How they receive it, and you can contact them personally, how they receive it is somebody's looking to skip the process. And then it's like, how do we know these people, Aqeel? If I reference and I say, Timmy Bazemore, I don't know if that's anybody's real name, or Sarah Stanley, and I say, hey, these are good people, they're friends of mine, and sign them up. What does that mean? You go in and then you don't have the proper headshots. And I hope nobody is referencing and giving references for people that, first of all, don't have a professional, and I say a professional major industry headshot, because the things people try to get back with, and they try to get over in the independent industry, and friends and colleagues and associates of mine that I've worked on their projects or I know of, I continuously tell them, stop letting them get over on you by giving you subpar materials that they would not give in the major industry. It's a discredit to you and to your business if they don't respect you enough to go and spend the $400 or $500 to $1,000 on getting professional headshots that everybody else is. It doesn't make sense because that's what you need in the industry. You can't use your friend that takes high school pictures. You've heard me say that in a bunch of videos and things like that before. But for the first time on Empowered Minds, I'm telling you that does not work. You can argue with the process all day, but if you're not in line, then see, again, you're not ready for an agent or manager, because that's the first thing they're going to tell you. They're going to look at your headshot, because I went through that when I was starting out and I was seeking to get an agent. I just had terrible headshots. No discredit to the photographer. The photographer just didn't understand what professional acting industry headshots were. So, but he took some great shots as far as the secular world and just me posting up shots, okay? And so there are so many of you that are still doing the same. Now, for those of you that have listened and you've contacted me and you said, hey, who's a good headshot photographer? And I recommend you to my personal headshot photographer, and hopefully I'll get a chance to put the link up, www.jenstankophotography.com. And I've been using Jen ever since I've been in the industry. And a great headshot, I'm going to save that because I'm about to go in tandem about headshot photographers, but that's a little extra information for you. But no, you cannot use my agent to get your work into the different arenas. No, you must go. And just like I said from the first question, you must Google. How do you find it? You Google. How do you find it? You research. How do you find it? You Google, you research. There's so much free information out there. Now, to those of you that have reached out to me in the past and the present about using my agent or using a reference, this is not a slap to you. This is all information. But I tell you this too. If you can't get used to people dealing with you straight and giving you the straight answers, you're definitely not ready for this industry, because your agents and your managers are going to be to the point. They're going to have a loving and a friend type, if you want to call it, but a business relationship. You should always expect your agents and your managers to have professional, courteous attitudes and business with you. Okay? And understand that they're dealing with so many other people besides you. So when it's time for you to submit that audition, or they're sending you auditions, get on top of it. Be professional. Show them that you've actually done the work and you're submitting great projects, okay? That when they look at your audition, they're like, oh man, I know Aqeel is going to land this role. There are a lot of times when I send my agents certain projects, I send them, I say, this is the one. And matter of fact, all my Law and Order and FBI auditions and things like that for the Dick Wolf universe, not because I'm conceited, because I've learned different things about it through studying hours and hours and days and years of those projects, and I've just been waiting for my chance. And so yes, how did I choose my agent? Or I chose my agent because I was looking for people that can get me into those arenas. The agents I had before were great and they got me into great projects. I have a TV series I booked with them, commercials, major films, but I also wanted access to like LA and New York programs that were going on that I knew that I would fit with my education, my experience, and my craft. And lo and behold, that's exactly what happened at the beginning of 2022 when I signed on with Aqeel Talent Group. And then in April of 2022, I signed on with BAC Talent. Shout out to my manager, Brandon Cohen. Okay. And so what I'm telling you is they had the reach and the connections to submit me to these projects. And I nailed my very first one. I nailed my very first Law and Order audition, and it was immaculate. Okay. And then for those of you that follow me, you know now, as of December, I was called back into a recurring role as the precinct commander for the 24th season of Law and Order SUV. And then soon, in the next week or two, you will see a new episode of Chicago, not Chicago Med, but Law and Order SVU, with yours truly as the precinct commander, and roles still growing. And then you will also see me just before that. You'll see me on Dick Wolf's other trilogy, FBI. All right. And then also last season, in 2022, I appeared 5 times in the 7th season of Chicago Med. So what I'm telling you is that you got to use everything that you have. All right. And don't be afraid to promote yourself, but that'll come in another video. So I've answered the question to you now. Do you need an agent or a manager? How do you choose an agent or manager? And can you use my agent or manager? And I hope that all my answers have been straight to the point and thorough enough for you to grab. So listen, go ahead right now, because I know you haven't done it. Go ahead right now. Hit that subscribe button to Empowered Minds, okay? Come back to the YouTube for more exciting videos like this and more knowledgeable with wisdom, presence that I give you, and then more updates, all right? God bless you. And it's Empowered Minds across every format, all right? Man, God bless, man. Go out there and get what you need to get. Make those strong affirmations. All right, Aqeel T. Ash-Shakoor signing out.
And I didn't need the drama, all my bills still do. Keep pushing, bro. I'm up to my last breath gone. Past left alone. Till I see my king sitting high on the throne. Focus is what I'm on. By any means, Holmes used to say if I don't blow, I'll put it to my dome. I've been chasing that money from the bottom to the top. Try to be the billionaire before the casket drop. And I know in my heart, man, I wanna live right. Got right with my king, now we tight, yeah.
If it don't kill you, it's gonna make you stronger. Whatever it is, it won't last much longer. Trouble won't last always. Trouble won't last always. If it don't kill you, it's gonna make you stronger. Whatever it is, it won't last much longer. Trouble won't last always. Trouble won't last always.
From mine to your neck of the woods, I've been the truth. If I said that, I did that. Never once just for the booth. I was too smooth for nicks and dimes. Love blue collar crime. If you need it, I had it. Assurance, the credit lines. If I died, I was on my way to hell, bro. I was living foul in a way.